Discussion keeps the world turning.
This is Roundtable.
You're listening to Roundtable. I'm Niu Honglin, joined by Lai Ming and Fei Fei. For this episode, imagine this. You're out with friends at a cafe, and instead of the usual latte, you're sipping on a cup of Yangming Beauty tea. Your friends raise an eyebrow. You explain it's for your internal heat. And they're suddenly asking where they can get some too. Welcome to the world of TCM food trends, where ancient remedies meet Instagrammable snacks. Is it just a fashion phase, or is there more to this herbal craze? After that, we also present Roundtable special segment that grants you a bit motivation every week. But now, in recent years, traditional Chinese medicine has leaped out of its ancient type, or let's say form, and into the buzzing world of modern gastronomy, captivating young people everywhere, from herbal-infused desserts and tonic teas to bread baked with medicinal twists. These innovations are blending well with wellness, and when we talk about these trends are being welcomed among young people, are we being exaggerating a little bit, or is it really popular now?
Well, I remember taking a stroll down the downtown of Nanchang, the capital city of Jiangxi, and I couldn't help but notice the number of stores selling medicinal teas. So I know that this is a place where young people tend to hang out. And I know that
the
I
lines
saw
are really
people.
long.
Yeah, I saw people lining up for these tea. So I think this is just one city in the center of the country, and I've read reports about how people are lining up elsewhere. So I believe this is something that really is gaining momentum over the internet, and I can't say this is not. This is like something extraordinary, because TCM, Chinese people have been having them for thousands of years. Even in my home, when we cooked chicken broth, well, my mom would use gastrodin. I think that's some traditional medicine. It's supposed to alleviate the internal heat. And although I personally don't enjoy it, but she made a point of adding them every time she cooks them. And I also know that in southern China, in Guangdong province, there's the habit of cooking soup.
The soup
And-
with
and
different
with-
ingredients and herbs.
Yeah.
It's very important. And also here in Beijing, I think back in a couple of months ago, a very famous TCM brand, Tongrentang, opened
yes.
their cafe / bakery nearby here in Wukesong, to be specific.
I was there yesterday.
I do
saw
want to get a grab of certain bread they sell, but I was never able to buy them because they were sold out every morning.
It's just so
Every
popular.
morning.
Yeah, it was so popular. You have to get there if you really want to buy their bread. You have to get there early in the morning to be able to get a taste of their most popular
Yes. Actually, according to the 2024 to 2029 analysis report on the trends of the medicinal cuisine industry here in China, the market size has been expanding year by year. In 2023, the market size of traditional medicine cuisine in China exceeded over 23 billion US dollars, showing a year-on-year growth of almost 11%. And the strong growth momentum indicates that the medicinal cuisine industry has definitely maintained a high growth rate in recent years. We are seeing the numbers, we are seeing the really long lines, and we are seeing the sold out plate or sold out sign of the Tongrentang bread every day. So I guess the trend is real.
Yeah, when you know that people are willing to pay good money for coffee coming from cat or duck droppings, then you would expect them to, be welcome to something that's even more healthier.
Yes, and not only the consumers. Actually, approximately 78,600 companies are involved in the medicinal cuisine sector. I mean, there definitely would be different reasons when they're getting popularity among consumers, when they get more and more Instagrammable and be a must in your gathering gathering together with your friends, something you something you put in the very carefully selected 9 photos that you share on your WeChat moment, then it's a trend. So what are some examples of these things? What besides medicinal bread, what else are we looking at?
Well, the product types range from popular wellness drinks such as rose pu'er, we know, which is a kind of tea coming from southwest China, and it's supposed to help you stay fit and try and reduce body weight. And then there's also dried tangerine peel. These things can go exceptionally expensive if you are willing to go for the high-end products. And hibiscus tea. And then the sour plum soup, which is more like a beverage when you go to a traditional Chinese restaurant like hot pot. And late night drink, which contains ginseng, goji berries, and other herbs, claiming to nourish and boost health, aimed at those who stay up late. And there's the Yangming beauty tea, which is recommended for people suffering from internal heat, meaning you get acne and you get angry very easily. It means you may have some internal heat going on within your body. And there's the Li Li Yuan Shang, which is meant for people with sore throats. I think we should try that.
We should. And for those of you who are not that familiar with the concept of traditional Chinese medicine view the entire human system as a whole. It's not about curing your symptoms. It's more about
achieving a balance within your body.
That is why we have the yin and yang. We have the internal heat and internal cold. That is why we believe by twiddling a little bit of one element in your body would help you reach a better state that would remove some of your some of your symptoms. So that's why Lai Ming has mentioned all those. But I feel like Lai Ming's list of medicine or medicinal cuisine are quite traditional to my view. So for those of you who are quite familiar with the traditional Chinese medicine system, these like goji berry or for example,
ginseng.
Rose in pu'er tea, yes, or ginseng. These are quite, in my opinion, traditional and popular for several years already. You hear people having goji berries if they're like pulling late nights. And
they used to be
really
associated with middle-aged men who care a lot about health. But now we know there's a trend going on. It's been going on for several years when we mock the people born in the 1990s for having started caring about their health even as early as in their early 20s. So this has been the trend for quite a few years. So I imagine the businesses must have seized on the opportunity to come up with products that these young people are seeking.
Yes, so there's something new here. Actually, there are at least 2 somethings new here. One is that young people are embracing these ingredients and are embracing this new taking care of themselves through the ways of changing their lifestyle kind of method.
Minding their hairline.
Yeah, yes, that too. So that's the first one, first new things we're looking at here. And the second new thing is that on top of, for example, putting the goji berry in your thermos cup and drink from it all day long, we are looking at some very innovative products. Bread, tea, and even the kind of soap bag that you can use to put into, for example, your pork soup.
And also coffee. And also,
Yes.
I think one thing really struck with me with the AI technology applied during this process.
What?
They have using
AI
AI
technology.
tongue diagnose devices to, you can snap a photo of your tongue and then sending them to the system to have AI, artificial intelligence, to diagnose for you, to recommend what would be the best herb or ingredients you can use. Because, in the view of traditional Chinese medicine, ginseng cannot be used by everybody. It's not the best herb because for certain people, for example, if you have a lot of internal heat, ginseng is not
It's just too much for you.
Yeah, it's too much for you. You should go the other way around. For example, using the ejiao or other ingredients that's not as popular as ginseng.
Maybe lotus seeds and cucumbers. And
Yeah, or some iced tea
goji
that
berries, perhaps. Yeah.
the province of Guangdong really like. So you some technologies would diagnose for you and then recommend these drinks. And also there've been I think incorporating Western cuisine with the traditional Chinese medicine like coffee. We now have goji berry coffee or osmanthus coffee or even croissants made with goji berry as well. And these have been embraced by young people here in China. And also I think is getting momentum overseas as well. We've heard people talking about drinking goji berry drinks or using traditional Chinese medicine methods like gua sha for their well-being, wellness, and also health benefits from that.
Yes, and one of my favorite among all these different products is goji berry as well as Chinese date ice cream.
I can never understand the mix. And when you're going for something that sort of is supposed to boost up your internal heat, you're not supposed to enjoy it with ice cream because
You balance it out. Okay, so here's my next question. How effective or how efficient are these kind of medicinal cuisine? Are we looking at having goji berry bread for one day and the next day I'm all energetic and can cope with anything in my life?
Nothing like that exists in the world.
Thank you.
I think they do have the effect of adding the flavors that people can enjoy. I mean, I personally am kind of tired of the flavors I get in my company cafeteria, and I would welcome something that they can do to experiment with in the form of tangerine peel, cinnamon, apple pastry, and low Hanguo blueberry bread, which is something that's really good for
your
our throat.
Yeah.
It's also good for the mental health as well. As someone who
with the
believes
scent.
I'm very I don't know how to say that in English. It's also one of the challenging part when prepping for this topic is the names of different ingredients and herbs and different symptoms you have. As a person who believe I'm very humid inside, has a lot of 湿气.
Internal
Drinking
humidity.
per barley is a very effective way in the eyes of traditional Chinese medicine. And I'm glad a lot of brands are launching pearl barley drinks now in the market. I'm not sure how effective those drinks are, but it's definitely helping me mentally, thinking if I drink it on a daily basis, it will help to reduce the humidity inside my system.
I think the key word here is on a daily basis. That's the thing about traditional Chinese medicine. One of the things that is, it's not meant for you to be cured overnight. At least if you're not showing certain acute symptoms, if it's only a problem of your system being not balanced enough, there are ways to make that balance come back to the perfect state. Yet you cannot really find, or let's say find the cure in merely changing your eating habit, in your diet habit. But I think one of the perks here is that, or at least one takeaway here is that we see more and more young people starting to care about their health, and they want to find a way, actually I think it's a really good way, that is changing their life habit, changing their daily routine, changing their lifestyle to achieve that healthier states.
Yeah. When we said we didn't believe in the immediate effect of consuming medicinal cuisine, what we really meant was that we don't believe a single goji berry croissant is going to solve your problem once and for all. What we are saying is that, yes, like New Holding said earlier, you need to continuously and consistently pay attention to the stuff you eat, you put in your mouth and in your stomach. Because really in China, like we mentioned earlier, we believe in 药食同源, meaning whatever is good for your health in the form of medicine, it might also come in the form of the food that you eat. So the ginsengs that my mother used to put into the soup, that's that was added out of the belief that this is good for our health, and we treat it as ordinary food. And the same goes for other products that young people are going after. But it's important to know that we need to be consistent, and we need to be more informed in going after particular products. So, for instance, like Feifei's example earlier, my body, if we believe in the theories, is more like internally cold, as compared to my father, who liked to crank up his AC in his office to like 22 degrees Celsius. I couldn't stand that. I mean, I have more internal cold than internal heat as such. I couldn't go after something like liangfen, something that
Cold
sort of
tea.
alleviates the internal heat. In fact, I need something that boosts up the internal heat to build a balance. So one word of the advice for people who see the trend and would like to ride on the trend, and that is to be mindful of your own body type. And if you really care about it, do some research and maybe consult a professional doctor or something.
Yeah.
I personally have seen, Niu Honglin was there too, a very, very a skilled traditional Chinese medicine and doctor, and she was able to tell from the color of my tongue that I was going through certain issues,
And your
and
pause.
I followed her advice, and things really improved. So that's one thing to look out for. The other thing is, while we believe in Yao Shi Tong Yuan, while we believe that food and medicine, they're supposed to be equally efficient, we also are mindful that anything can be poisonous. Medicine that you're taking can have some side effects. So I personally seen an example of people deciding on their own without expert
Don't
guidance.
self-medicate. Never
Yeah.
self-medicate.
Yeah, and also
to use medicinal herbs in their life, and their symptoms have only gotten worse.
yeah.
So while I'm sure that some of the very influential businesses like Tongrentan know what they're doing, and they are probably coming up with the safe options, I'm not sure about the less well-known and less supervised businesses out there, that they are responsible enough to give something that's what's the right word, innocuous to everybody, people with different kinds of body types.
Yes, and definitely for this trend, at least we can count on more and more people being curious about the trend and learning more knowledge about traditional medicine and knowing a bit more about how to take care of yourself. In the meantime, the 2024 World Conference on Traditional Medicine will take place in Beijing from the 3rd to 4th December 2024. And it will, this two-day event will include a series of panel discussions and sessions covering diverse topics such as evidence-based traditional medicine, advanced technologies, AI applications in traditional medicine research, and the standardization and safety of herbal medicines as well. So if you're interested, you can take a look at this new conference. And in the meantime, for the following 2 days, Roundtable would cover more topics on traditional Chinese medicine. You're listening to Roundtable. Coming up next, Motivational Monday.
Motivational Mondays. Motivational Mondays.
It's Roundtable with myself, Niu Honglin, Lai Ming, and Feifei. Motivational Mondays. What are some quotes that will give us a little bit motivation for the week?
Well, how about I begin with my quote, and that is something from the British science fiction writer and futurist Arthur C. Clarke, who wrote the famous Space Odyssey series. I'm in the process of finishing the last one of the series, and one of his quotes said, "The creation of wealth is certainly not to be despised, but in the long run, the only human activities really worthwhile are the search for knowledge and the creation of beauty. This is beyond argument. The only point of debate is which comes first." So his point is that over the long history of humanity, what really matters when we are living on this planet is that we continue searching for knowledge. We continue creating beauty. So we are artists, we are scientists. We look for ways to improve our lives. We look for ways to prove that we have our own perspectives. We have our own sense of what is beautiful and what touches the innermost part of our hearts, of our emotions. And this is much more important than, let's say, I'm wealthy and I accrued a significant amount of money that I couldn't possibly spend throughout my lifetime. So this is something to think about. And about the last sentence, there's no argument about the importance of the search for knowledge, the creation of beauty, and the creation of wealth. But the point of debate is which comes first. Some people might believe that they have to have a means to survive before they can engage in more creative or more long-term planning, more entertaining activities in our lives. But I believe we can all multitask. I think for human beings as a species, we can multitask. We know some very famous artist who was poor throughout his lifetime, only to be famous and well-known posthumously. So as a species, we can multitask, and as a society, we can allocate resources differently to pursue development in different aspects. But as individuals, we can also multitask. I mean, even as we try to make ends meet, try to pay our rent, we can also spare a moment in our lives, maybe in the afternoon after consuming some goji berry croissants, you can sit back and learn some art, painting, music, and the enjoyment of, and even the creation of art. That's something that we might look back upon when we are older and say that we achieved more than just make some money.
I think that is a very good point. And previously on Roundtable, we talked about doing things that are considered useless in life occasionally. That is one way to make yourself feel better about yourselves. And the useless things we identified and listed include learning to paint, learning a certain kind of music instrument, and try to collect some falling leaves and make it into some artworks. And especially doing that, enjoying that process with your kids, these are not that quote unquote useful, as in they're not that productive, or that these kind of hobbies would not make you a lot of money and make you wealthy, but they are definitely useful for your mental health.
Yeah, leave the productive part to AIs. We humans are supposed to be more spectacular and magnificent in our own creation.
Yes. Yeah, and I think it also comes down to how you would envision our world to be. Do you want a more beautiful and intelligent society, or do you want just people looking for perpetual economic growth, and money is the only thing matters in society, and every part of the society counts? And that comes down really to my quote for today, is from American political theorist John Shar, and he says, "The future is not some place we are going, but one we are creating. The paths are not to be found, but made, and the activity of making them changes both the maker and the destination." So it shows us, the importance of actions. Sometimes we are trapped in a mindset that we need to be prepared. We need to have plans. We need to have a clear picture of the future.
We sometimes
or the
do.
Goals. Yes, we want to reach.
Do.
We want to know what we are getting in the future. But the thing is, most of the time, the plan is never 100% ready, and we will definitely meet something in the plan, and we most of the time don't know what the future holds. That's because, as Shar points out, the future is created by us, by every action we take. So I think for some period of time, we should never spend too much time thinking about the future or planning for the future. But essentially, we need to take actions. And that, as Shar puts it, actions change the destination. The destination we're hoping to reach is determined really by us.
Yeah. Just to know that there's plenty of actors at play here, and everybody's making their decisions, and every decision has an impact on the plan that you have and on the world that we're living. And such, it's also important to be able to adapt to the changing situations. Whereas, just as it's important to have a plan to begin with.
Yes, and not being able to, let's say, work in accordance with the plan. Every single step should not be a source for your anxiety, which leads to my motivational Monday today. That is, worrying about something bad before it happens means you've experienced the bad thing twice. And if you keep thinking about it afterwards, it's like going through it 3 times. So I think it's saying stop worrying. I mean, just deal with the problems you meet, jump over the hurdles you see, and try to tackle the challenges you face. It will be okay. I mean, all the parties changing and interfering with your plans are most occasionally helping you to get there with your goal. And that is the most important. So hopefully our Motivational Mondays have helped you getting a little more strength to have a better state for your coming week. That brings us to the end of today's roundtable. Until next time, keep the conversations going and the ideas flowing. I'm Niu Honglin with Lai Ming and Fei Fei. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.